Why, hello, how are you doing? My name is Simo, I'm in my cosy comfies. I have a peppermint tea in a Christmas mug, and to be honest, I've had a bit of a up and down week, so that's why I thought I would just turn on the camera, have a wee chat to you, and I actually asked over on my Instagram what video people would like to see, and the one that got the most votes was a chatty video about skating. So this is the video that I wanted to make. I have wee notes on my phone, and so today what I just want to talk about is 3 things you should know before you start ice skating. And the reason I wanted to make this video is I feel like there is a lot of misconceptions about ice skating, and I think my fridge is just turned on and made such a loud noise. So anyway, the reason I wanted to make this video is just to chat to some people that want to get into ice skating or have just started ice skating and may not know what to expect. So the first thing I want to talk about is ice skating is expensive. I know all sports at an elite level are really expensive because you have to pay for like coaching and different things like that, but ice skating gets expensive fast, and you should be aware of this. It's one that I'm actually thinking of making in the future as a sort of tips on how to save money in ice skating. Growing up, my family could like pay for me to go ice skating, so we were in like a reasonably well off position, but we did save money where we could save money. So if you do want a video on how to save money in ice skating, then let me know in the comments and I can make that one for you, because honestly everything in skating costs money, and the minute you buy anything that it's like gloves cost X amount, but skating gloves cost 10 times that amount, and even like ice skating boots. So not that I love to talk about money too much, but ice skating boots can easily be about £600, and you can need a new pair of skating boots every year, and that's just one piece of equipment. That's not club fees, that's not coaching fees. Like, it is a very expensive sport, and you should be very aware of that before starting ice skating. And the other one is there's not a lot of support financially. You will struggle to find scholarships, or excuse me, I'm speaking exclusively for Scotland and the UK. You don't win prize money. Sponsorships are usually like with kit, and even at that, they're hard to come by. There isn't really a lot of financial support when it comes to ice skating. And the second thing that you should know about ice skating is it is really hard work. And I mean, this one may just seem so obvious, because what sport isn't hard work? But it is such a difficult sport. And the one that I always like to use as an example is at the Olympics, you can watch the 100-meter sprint. I can sprint 100 meters. I just can't do it as fast as any Olympic athlete. I mean, to be honest, I probably can't do it as fast as like an average person, but you get my point. I can physically do it. If I watch the Olympics and if I watch elite skaters, I cannot physically do anything in their program, because to get to the Olympics you need to be doing triples and quads. And when it gets to quad jumps, there's actually a lot of research, there's a lot of work going into how they think we can actually physically do 5 rotations, and there is some thought that it may not be possible, but obviously if everything in sport is not possible until someone does it. But a 5 rotation jump has never been landed in competition, and I don't think anyone has ever landed one. And with that, there is no end. Like, again, to compare it to running, you can always run faster, and you can always land harder jumps, do more difficult entries. Like, you are constantly trying to get better than yourself, and there is no end to it. But another thing about ice skating that makes it quite difficult is you need to be an all-round athlete. You need to have the stamina to be able to do the program, you need to have the strength to be able to do the jumps, you need to be flexible, you need to be able to perform. You can't get someone at the Olympics that's great at jumps, but then their performance isn't that well, or they're not that flexible. Like, that just doesn't happen. You need to be an all-round athlete. Because the other one that I want to say specifically to the people that are just starting out with skating is a lot of any of the moves that you do in skating are not natural. you need to retrain a lot of parts of your body to be able to do things. Like one that I'm super fascinated by, and if I can find a video that properly explains the science involved in this. So the reason that ice skaters don't get dizzy when they spin is that like your inner ear, I think it's fluid within your inner ear, your brain learns to ignore that response, because basically you feeling dizzy as the fluid in your ear like moving. And again, I'm rewording this science probably not correctly, but your body needs to physically adapt to the spins so that you don't get dizzy. And that takes time, and there's nothing that can replace that. You can't just go, oh, I'm just gonna ignore this. Like, no, your body needs time to adapt. And if you are just starting out on ice, the best thing you can do is just get on the ice, spend as much time as you physically can, just powering through the basics. The more you can get the basics, the easier, more complicated things are going to be, and your body just needs time to adapt to that. Also, I'm really sorry if you can hear the upstairs neighbour's dog. It breaks my heart, but she likes to howl. Hi, so I'm just editing this video here, and the other section that I just wanted to add for about skating is hard work. Skating is, another thing that makes skating hard work is you have to get up early. Like, for some reason, ice skating time seems to be like 5, 6 in the morning on like every Saturday, Sunday morning, like 6 a.m. before school or work as a kid. Like, so you need to get used to early mornings. Don't know why that is, but they always seem to want to get figure skaters up early, and that is hard work. So number 3 that you need to know about ice skating is that as a sport, it is frustrating. It is one of the few sports that is based on opinion. So you will get an artistic score when you compete in figure skating, but your artistic score can vary depending on the judge, and that's all down to opinion. And even just the slightest things can be down to opinion. A judge can prefer your interpretation to the music, a judge could prefer that position in a spin or that spiral. Just, it is opinion based. In other performance based sports, like I'm assuming gymnastics, there will be opinion variations in that, and that can be really frustrating, because I can think that I've done better than someone else, but when it comes to a competition, my opinion doesn't matter, and that just can be frustrating, but it's a reality of the sport. There are so many elements in ice skating that are so unbelievably frustrating. Like, you can master a jump, absolutely master it. It can be utter perfection, and then you go into a competition and you fall on it. It's frustrating. It's all I can say about it. And another one that is unbelievably frustrating, imagine every time you made a mistake, the tiniest little mistake, someone just came up and punched you in the face. Well, that is ice skating, because if you're trying to learn a new jump, you will fall thousands of times, thousands. It could be your shoulder was slightly off, it could be when you took off from a jump, your hip was a little bit open, it could be you didn't have enough speed, your rotation speed, like speed going into the jump, your rotation speed. It can be any number of little minute things that can throw a jump off and cause you to fall. But when you fall, you hit the ice, and it is just that you hit the ice every single time. You fall, it hurts, you get back up, you have to do it again. And that is frustrating. It takes a lot of mental power to go, I've just fell and I need to just get back up again. And again, even in competitions, if you fall, you can't really take a moment to go, oh, that's really frustrating, because you're in a performance, you need to keep going. No one, well, people care that you fell, and judges are going to notice that and give you a deduction for falling. But guess what? You're going to get even more deductions if you're like, can't believe I fell, or like take too long to compose yourself to get back into it. You can lose points for that. So that's very frustrating. That yes, there is massive athletic elements within ice skating, but the performance still has to be there. You still have to perform your routine, otherwise you can lose points. So yeah, basically if you fall in competition, be mad about it afterwards, not during your performance. So another element of skating that I've personally found quite frustrating is it feels very age-gated, and I don't know if this is the case for all over the world, but I started skating when I was 9, and basically I was never going to get to the Olympics unless I was some prodigy that was skating 3-4 times a day and got like triple jumps by the age of like 16, 17, which is insane. And again, I don't know how many, like I don't know much about other sports if they're like this as well, but ice skating, I do just remember being like, oh, you have to get this level by this age, you have to get to that level by that age, and that it's a lot of pressure to put on a kid, especially when the ages you're talking about are like 14. So oh, you need to be landing this jump by 14, or kind of that's it. And that's tough. Like that's tough to try and get that across to a kid, that basically you can just age out of a sport. And that's where things like adult skating are quite good, because it can be slightly embarrassing as like, say, I'm trying to think how old I was the last I did a kids competition. So I might have been about 20. Yeah, it was maybe about 20 the last time I competed in like a normal, I'm going to call it a kids competition, but like an open regular circuit non-adult skating competition. And I could be skating against like a 12-year-old, and so I was the underdog in that competition. There was zero chance of me winning that, but I still just wanted to compete. I wanted to perform, because competing, it's stressful, but it's really fun. And like, I wanted to compete, but there's a little bit of me that I'm like, if I bet a 12-year-old as a 20-year-old, I would feel really bad. But at the same time, I absolutely know for a fact that the 12-year-old is going to kick my ass, because the kids in this sport just seem to be outstanding. So yeah, it's very age gated, and that can be quite frustrating. Because another one, so I do adult competitions, or I did adult competitions when the world was normal and we could compete in ice skating, but as a 26-year-old, I am not old enough to compete in some adult competitions. So there's a huge one, Oberstdorf in Germany, and people talk about that all the time, but their youngest category, you have to be 28 to qualify. And I'm like, what? So I'm too old for the kids competitions, and I'm too young for some of the adult competitions. So that is a little bit frustrating. So with all that said, I don't want it to be all, oh, skating's doom and gloom. No, skating is an outstanding sport. I love ice skating. Some of my best memories growing up are at skating competitions. I've been able to travel to Germany, Spain, all over the UK, all for skating competitions. I've been able to train with Olympic athletes. Like, it's been such a good sport for me, mentally, physically. I feel like it's had a positive impact on pretty much every area of my life. And I think one of the reasons that it's had such a positive impact is because it is so difficult. Like, it's challenges that build resilience, it's challenges that improve you as a person. Like, what athlete goes into a sport and goes, yeah, it's really easy and doesn't challenge me, and that's why I enjoy it? Like, no, sport is there to challenge you and improve you. And I found this quote, I'm going to read it. It's by Theodore Roosevelt, and it says, "Nothing in the world is worth having or worth doing unless it means effort, pain, and difficulty. I have never in my life envied a human being who led an easy life. I have envied a great many people who led difficult lives and led them well." I just feel that says it, because when you overcome something that you've been struggling with, it's such a good feeling. Like, I'm going to speak directly to my fellow skaters, and I think an axel is the perfect example. Nearly every skater struggles and works so hard to land that axel. Your axel is your first big boy jump, and you will never get a cheer or this like overwhelming sense of just, holy shit, I did it, than when you land a jump for the first time. You can be working on this thing for months, years, and when you land it, the feeling is so overwhelming, it's hard to describe. It is such a good feeling to go, all of my hard work paid off, and I can now land this jump. I hope in other sports you get something similar, because there is literally no feeling like that. And again, growing up, a lot of people would say to me, like, for some reason people just think Olympics when it goes to skating, and I know I've spoken about Olympic athletes a lot throughout this, but there is more ways to succeed in ice skating than just getting to the Olympics. Like, you can do skating shows, you can win at your competition at your level, you can just land a jump or get a skill that you personally want, and that's enough. And I think it is enough because it is so difficult. Like when I was a kid, I could be competing against 30, 40 other kids, all of the same level, and if I won, that's insane. Like you have 3 chances to get a medal or a trophy, and that's it. You get a minute and a half in a beginner program to perfect it. You get no second chances. You get that one opportunity to go out, do it, and a judge decides where you fall. Like in a position wise, not like where you fall on the ice. But it's so much pressure, but it's such a good feeling when you get it right, and I feel like it takes a lot of mental resilience to go. So right now my program is 3 minutes. For me to go, I have 6 jumps, 3 spins, a step sequence. I have 3 minutes to prove myself and entertain everybody in this room, and I'm gonna do it. And that just takes so much. Like, you don't get a second chance. If you fall in a jump, you can't get back up and do it again. Like, no, you need to nail it that time. But yeah, that was just my little video. That it's 3 things I think that you should know before you start ice skating, and it is such a difficult, frustrating and expensive sport, but I would say it's worth it. I've gained so much from it, I've achieved so much from it, and it's just one of the reasons I love ice skating is the challenge. And I think if you're up for the challenge, then it's a sport for you. And I would say to anybody to try it. Like, it's such a difficult sport, and I do think more people should be willing to try give it a go. It's not easy in the slightest. Not everybody, like, I had zero natural ability at it. I had to work so hard at skating, and people do not believe me now. Unless you knew me when I was going to public skating when I was like 5 or 6, I was crying, wouldn't let go of the barrier. I had zero natural ability at it. And most, like, because I teach beginners, again, when the world was normal and I could teach beginners, but nearly every single kid that walks on that ice has so much more natural ability than I ever did, even though I'm now landing like double jumps. I've won trophies. I've achieved all that I've achieved with zero natural ability. So if you have any sort of natural ability, you should be able to achieve millions more than I can. And I'm not saying that as if like, oh, I'm amazing, oh, I'm the best skater, because I'm not. I'm really not. Like, I can land double jumps. I managed to get to level 7 when I was in regular competing life, but I'm proud of all that I achieved, and I think every person that takes part in a sport should be proud of what they achieve, no matter what. Like, it doesn't need to be an Olympic medal. And I'm trying not to get too cheesy, but anyway, I really like ice skating. It's very difficult, it's very frustrating, it's very expensive, and that's a roundup of everything you should know before you start ice skating. And I hope that left you on a positive note. And yeah, I hope you have a lovely day. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you would like to subscribe, please do that. My name is Simo, and I think I've already asked you to have a lovely day, but I'm going to ask you again, have a beautiful, fantastic, lovely, fantabulous day. Bye!